meeting to order. Please stand. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately following a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded. Anything said in this meeting will become part of public record. Since the last time the commissioners met, I do not believe commissioners, the majority of them, have met together on anything. I was on vacation for a week, so I definitely did not. Any correspondence to bring before the board? The only thing that I wanted to note was the communications that I've had with the Vera Institute. I brought it up in the prison board yesterday, and I believe someone informed me about the conversation. They sent a confidentiality agreement. The solicitor has reviewed it and has significant changes to it. I think I'd like to ask that we amend the agenda to put that on the agenda at least to discuss. That's all right. I'm fine with that. All right. We'll add that under new business then. Yes. Very good. Today on the agenda we have the Vera Agreement, Resolution 3141, reauthorizing collection of fees for abandoned mine reclamation fund, amendment to the AFSCME labor contract, and the agreement with LexisNexis for tax claim. Am I missing anything? No. Very good. If there's anything that the public would like to bring before the Board of Commissioners that was not just listed, please speak now. Very good. Hearing none. The agenda meet with your approval. You said yes. The minutes from June 12th, they meet with your approval. Yes. Fiscal report.
You have the fiscal report in front of you. We're running well ahead of schedule, planned historical schedule of cash flow using the TAN. So that continues to go well. We did receive some more funding this week too, so we should be good. I think we'll be good for quite a while actually.
So normally, based on the last 5 years, we've been at $2.5 million.
About $2.5 million. We only have one.
Surely we're about to draw again.
No, I think we'll be good.
Okay. It's good to hear. Any questions for the fiscal director?
And again, that's just the two biggest reasons is early in the very beginning of the year, I communicated with a lot of outside entities and vendors and pushed back because of the way we currently bring in our tax receipts, push back and backload the year instead of front loading it when we don't have any money, and pushing back things to the second, third, and fourth quarter of the year, and that's been helpful. They've been pretty agreeable in doing that. So that's been a significant part of why that cash is better than it has been historically.
Very good. Thank you. There are no proclamations, so I would ask for an a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes, and the fiscal report.
So moved.
Second, discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. There's no old business on the agenda. First thing, the new business is Resolution 3141. This is a resolution that urges Congress to reauthorize collection of fees to the abandoned mine land reclamation fund. I have spoken with Congressman Thompson's office and understand that it expires in 2021, and they don't anticipate too much opposition. Nevertheless, I think it would be a good idea to go ahead and move to approve this resolution.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 3141.
Second, discussion. Any public comment? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is an amendment to the AFSCME labor agreement. For quick background, the AFSCME union encompasses jail, sheriff's deputies, and 911. We have, for the last 18 months or so, been aware of the fact that Staffing at 911 has been low, to say, and we have not had many people in the hopper in terms of training. Job requirements, training requirements and such have kind of increased. Simultaneously, the wages have been kind of stagnant, causing concern that we've not been able to get more part-time deputies in the wings in order to facilitate full-time openings. And at this point, we have 2 full-time openings, correct?
We just filled one.
Oh, we just
We
filled
have
one. And we have no one in training at this time. And it takes usually 6 months approximately to train a part-timer up to a full-time through the probationary period. So it's become enough of a concern that the union initiated a request to fiscal and 911 management that we consider raising the rates, making addendum to the agreement. Fiscal, HR, and 911 management reviewed proposal with them, sent it to the commissioners in the last executive session, and we talked about it in a salary board, I think 2 salary boards ago, and made some pushbacks. You'll see that the last person that was hired ended up being approved in this public meeting 2 weeks ago under a new rate, but we did not have the final language for the amendment. Now we have that, and so it's before us. The telecommunicator 3 would be $21 an hour, telecommunicator 2 would be $20 an hour, 1 would be $18, and the starting rate would be raised to $16.50. It is our hope that that will attract good qualified candidates to go into training and become part-time and full-time 911 dispatchers. Any comments from the board? Any questions for me? I would move to approve this amendment to the labor agreement with AFSCME.
A second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, agreement with LexisNexis. I believe we do this every year. This is in order to facilitate the tax claim office studying the law and doing title search, correct?
Basically, it's to find individuals who don't sign for their notices. We got to prove our due diligence and do the research to find these individuals. So we were paying $50 a month for that service. I just got an email this month that's going to raise to $150 a month, costing the county an extra $1,200 a year. So I reached out to the LexisNexis representative, and she was able to get down to $105. And I talked to her some more and got her back down to the $50 a month fee that we are currently paying. So I'm sure Fiscal would appreciate that, but this is, in order to get that same fee, we have to re-sign the e-contract, which I believe Nathaniel should.
I review. It's fine.
Very good. The request of tax lien and consent of the solicitor, I move to approve the LexisNexis agreement.
A second.
Discussion?
Just like to thank Director Gilbert for his due diligence on the agreement. Every penny that we can save for the taxpayers is very valuable, so thank you.
Thank
I'd like to hire Mr. Gilbert to negotiate my legal research.
We can come up with a contract.
Any public comment? All those in favor of approving the LexisNexis agreement, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Last thing on the agenda besides personnel transaction report, confidentiality agreement with Vera. So the solicitor reviewed this version, and there's at least one significant problem with it. Feel free to speak to it.
Well, my understanding is that Bear Institute of Justice is going to possibly provide some information. Just the revisions that I'm proposing to this agreement have to be made if the county is going to sign. Perhaps Vera enters into this confidentiality agreement with entities that aren't public. However, we are public, and there's terms in here that require the receiving entity, the counterparty to Vera, to keep even the existence of the agreement confidential. And there's other terms in here that we can't comply with in regard to being a public entity. Just discussing the agreement today theoretically is a breach of the contract if it was just signed the way that it's written currently. So there's not a lot of revisions. They mostly have to do with accommodations for the fact Warren County is a public entity.
Very good. So the project would be a free project for Warren County to participate in, where Vera would come in and analyze some of our jail data, population trends, that sort of thing, in order to understand what we have had in the jail historically, what we could kind of expect in the future, and then ideally make recommendations based on benchmarks from other states as well as other counties within Pennsylvania. I'm not entirely sure what would be confidential pertaining to that, but I could see potentially using some algorithms or something. I don't necessarily have any problem with passing it with the amendments that Attorney Schmidt proposes. However, if Vera is unwilling to agree to that, obviously the project would just be dead in the water immediately. So with that, I guess I would ask for a motion to approve the Vera confidentiality agreement with the revisions that Attorney Schmidt has provided. Again, contingent, the approval of this would be contingent upon full acceptance of terms as negotiated by the solicitor.
So moved.
Second, discussion from the board.
This is something that's a common issue with a lot of the different discussions that we have with different organizations. Every once in a while someone wants a confidentiality agreement because they have some type of proprietary technology or something, and we have to explain to them that we're a public entity. There's only so much that we can do. Most of whatever, especially if it's emailed or digitally, if there's a digital correspondence, it has to be disclosed to our email, with very few exceptions. So,
Right. Obviously, we'd have to redact anything that had person's names.
yeah, and just having glanced at the changes that the attorney is proposing, I think those would alleviate the issue. Because the bigger concern is the liability of the county being sued for being in breach of some kind of agreement when, when we stated that we're a public entity.
Right. Very good. Any other discussion? Public comment? All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Motion carries. Personnel transaction report. Since the last time the Board of Commissioners met, Hans Spencer has been hired effective the 17th in the Sheriff's Department as a deputy at a rate of $16.74 an hour. Kaylin Miller was hired in Human Services as an administrative assistant, effective on the 19th for a rate of $15.06 an hour. Dalton Mays, effective the 7th, went from a corrections officer 2 to a sergeant in the jail. Donnie Cummings, also on the same date, had the same position. Both those rates are $22.03 an hour. Cindy Respect, separated from the county and Human Services as administrative assistant. That will be effective on July 3rd. I have a motion to ratify the personnel transaction report.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, but I announced that. Okay. Closing comments. One thing I would like to bring before the board, I don't know whether it's more appropriate to bring it to the salary board after this or to this body, but former Deputy Coroner Melissa Zidonic was basically doing the work of the coroner for more than in excess of 6 months without due compensation, in my opinion. I would like to do something, even if it was a couple $1,000 perhaps, as a nod to the sheer amount of hours that she put into that job, uncompensated. She really went above and beyond what anyone could expect a deputy coroner to do. I can tell you that I know, as an ambulance responder, that she had been out like all night, put in something like 20-some hours in 1 week. Again, I think what we paid for that would have been $75 for like 20 hours of work. I don't view that as just, so I would like to do something for her. I don't know Now, she's a 1099, correct? Because she was a 1099. Now she's a W-2.
Correct.
As she is now the coroner. But previously 1099. That's why I was thinking it could be it could go either way. Most 1099 agreements we pass in this meeting. However, in some ways she was an employee as well. So, either of you have an opinion?
If you can do it as a because for work while she was a 1099 employee, then I lean that way.
To do it here.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it here, I mean, I guess you could do it here, and then pending, we could just do it.
Or you structure it as a bonus, as an
Well,
employee.
it's a 1099, just an adjustment to her 1099.
The challenge of, there's a challenge there because she's been sworn in as an elected official. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest obstacle to doing anything on her behalf. The salaries are fixed on an
Yeah, that's
4 years.
That's the effective date of when she was sworn in, but this
would be previous.
This is for previous to her being sworn in.
Thank you. Yes, we did go down that path, and I had forgotten that. We cannot give her a bonus now as a W-2 employee.
Correct.
But we could compensate her for 1099 work done before she was in office.
I think that's that's my initial thought.
Right. So that's the case for why it should not go before a salary board, but instead it would be before this
Right.
body. Well, I don't have a proposal to bring before this body then. How about we'll work together on getting something for the next meeting? We could add it to old business. Anything else? Mr. Gomez? Oh, I did want to mention that I went to Berks County and met with Commissioner Weinbach. They have a DC3, I believe, program that they're doing in jail. I requested more information, and I'll be bringing that probably to the next prison board meeting. Obviously, I was not able to collect it in such short order for last week, or for yesterday. But that was a good meeting, and I would encourage you, Commissioner Arvidsson, when you go to the summer conference, if you're in the summer conference, which is in Reading, that perhaps the two of us would go take a tour of their jail and meet with some of the nonprofits that are doing anti-recidivism programs in their jail.
Berks County, right?
Yes.
And Berks County has one of the most comprehensive
Yes.
Recidivism and like human services related response teams across the board. They're always the high bar for the counties in the state. So I would be happy to.
Very good. After this meeting, we have an executive session scheduled with the solicitor to discuss an opioid class action lawsuit, potentially other active lawsuits as well. So I'd ask to adjourn to executive session where we will take no action.
Are you asking for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.